podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
ZPG Ice Maidens.
Hello and welcome to ZPG Ice Maidens, the only dedicated Women's National Ice Hockey League podcast. Part of the ZPG network of UK ice hockey podcasts, we are in partnership with Hockey Art Co. Hockey clothing for hockey people, worn by the best and hated by the rest. Listeners to the ZPG network get a 10% discount on everything site-wide at hockeyartclothing.co.uk. Just enter the code ZP10 upon checkout to get your discount. We are also part of the Sports Social Podcast Network, the biggest sports podcast network in Europe, boasting over 450 podcasts for more than 15 different sports. Welcome to episode 3 of ZPG Ice Maidens then, as we catch you up on what has happened during the final week of the regular season. Ice Maidens is proud to support and promote women's hockey as we attempt to provide a platform to showcase all the talent from the WNIHL. We are delighted to have teamed up with a great hockey brand in Zero Pucks Given, and along with continued support from Her Game 2, we hope to continue raising the profile of women's hockey in this country. So, without further delay, let's get this week's show started then, with the news from the past 7 days. The playoffs are just a week away, and we now know the lineup of all 8 semi-finalists. The finals weekend gets underway on Friday the 31st of May, with the 2 under-16s games now confirmed as being North champions Whitley Bay Beacons against the South runners-up London Capitals, who of course won the competition 2 years ago, with a dramatic winner from Sophie Games, who netted with just 7 seconds to go. I wonder if this game will be equally as exciting as that one. The other game will pair South champions, the Chelmsford Rattlesnakes, who pushed last year's winners Kingston all the way in an exciting semi-final against the North runners-up, the Sheffield Shadows. The elite playoff between Streatham Storm and Swindon Topcats will then close out the first day's play. Semi-final Saturday will start with the 2 Division 1 games. Champion Swindon will face Firebees, while Kingston Diamonds will face off against the Bristol Huskies. The Elite Games will be up next, with recently crowned Elite champions Queen Bees facing a Kingston Diamond side who haven't been involved in the Elite tournament for a few years now. Solihull Vixens will take on Guildford Lightning in the other game. Closing the day will be the 2 Division 2 games. Northern champions Caledonia Steel Queens will face Cambridge Kodiaks, while Southern champions Cardiff Comets will play the Telford Wrecking Raiders. The 4 finals will then all take place on the Sunday. England under-15s were the final travelling team this season. After last Thursday's arrival and practice session, Friday saw the squad take time out in the morning to visit the old town of Vilnius before the coaches ran through some game day preparation in the classroom. The leadership group for the Sosteen Cup tournament was confirmed as Captain Sophie Davis, with assistants Natasha Doig and Cara Jones. The tournament action at Promogu Arena got underway on the Friday, with the first of 4 group stage games taking place. Game 1 was a 9-1 win over Latvian side HC Laima, with Sheffield Shadows Eva Solossi scoring in the emphatic win. Queen of the game went to Chelmsford and Guildford forward Isabella Zizhinska. Another Shadows player, Macy Wakeford, was named the game's hardest worker. Game 2 was a shootout loss, which ended 4-3 to Finnish side Hifk White. Queen of the game was Leeds and Nottingham goalie Kira Daniel, while the hardest worker went to Katie Anderton. On the Saturday, Game 3 was a 6-2 win over the other Finnish team, Hifk Red. Sophie Davis was Queen of the game, with Whitley Bay's Heidi Dunn named as the hardest worker. Game 4 was another win, this time by a 5-3 scoreline over host team Sosteen Hockey Girls of Lithuania. Queen of the game was Rebecca Voslinski, and Aurora Dobbs claimed the hardest worker hat. Those 3 wins meant England were top of the qualification group with 10 points ahead of the playoff games, which were taking place on the Sunday morning. The girls completed their Sosteen Cup by finishing in 4th place after those playoff games. Game 5 ended with a narrow 3-2 loss to eventual winners HIFK White as the Helsinki-based team won the tournament. Queen of the game was Whitley Bay's Evie Tyndale, with Sophie Benson getting the hardest worker hat. Game 6, which was a placement game to decide who finished 3rd and 4th, saw a 5-2 defeat to HIFK Red. Tasha Doig crowned Queen of the game, and Sophie Davis taking the hardest worker award. After the tournament, Isabella Jajinska was named MVP for England by the organisers, while England's MVP was Sophie Davis. The squad presented a signed flag to host Dalia Katula, who was a brilliant support throughout the event. A huge well done then to all the players and staff once again doing themselves, their clubs and the ENTP proud with how they've performed on the ice and carried themselves off it. With this season not even quite over yet, we already have some signing news for next season. Lizzie Saunders has agreed to sign with Sutton Sting in the men's 4th tier, where there is already a growing list of WNIHL players already competing in the league. Lizzie is happy to be back with her hometown team and had this to say about it. I'm happy to be back at Sutton for the upcoming season. Having been away from men's hockey for the past few years, I'm excited to be back on the ice with Sting after spending my junior career with many of these players. I look forward to being able to further my game and pick up some game experience to take into the GB team going forward. I know how much the boys want to bring home some silverware, and my aim is to help make that happen this season. Lizzie could well be the missing piece a Sting need to land some silverware, having narrowly missed out this season. Lizzie joins Kingston Diamonds teammate Libby Bird, who was also signed with a Sting for another season. Sting coach Matt Jeffcock is equally delighted and described Lizzie as, without doubt, one of the best hockey brains on the team, who adds great depth to the roster. High praise indeed, but very well deserved. The final 3 games of the Elite League took place last weekend, where we had the small matter of a league title to decide. With Solihull not playing until Sunday, it meant Queen Bees could decide both sides' fate a day earlier, when they took on Guildford Lightning in Surrey. It was perhaps apt then that Queen Bees leading scorer Rachel Cartwright netted what proved to be the championship-winning goal inside the opening 2 minutes of the game, when she put home Lily Endicott's feed. Megan Stouts made a welcome return to action when she doubled the lead just after the midpoint of the period, after linking up well with Ellie Wallace. Catherine Gale added a third before the period was over to give the league leaders a comfortable lead with 20 minutes gone. Ellie Wallace and Megan Stouts linked up again just after the midpoint of the game to make it 4-0, before Nora Egri had the final word when she netted with 4.5 minutes to go. Once again, Ellie Wallace and Megan Stouts playing an integral part in the build-up. Amelia McGinley came away with a 20-save shutout, but it was the virtuoso performance of Megan Stouts that earned her the Player of the Game award. Marley Easton was certainly kept busy in the Lightning goal, making 39 saves before Kira Waddington came on for the final 7 minutes. A huge congratulations then go to the Queen Bees, Elite League champions for the 2023-24 season. It is their first regular season success since 2019. Solihull Vixens ended their season with a 2-1 defeat at Streatham, with Katie Henry scoring the only goal from a Jodie Alderson-Smith assist. Jodie scored a landmark goal last week in the Vixens' win over Kingston, but it was Katie who notched a significant one this time. Katie's goal moved her to 400 points in just 184 league games for the Vixens, a truly remarkable achievement to one of the greats of the WNIHL. A very well done, Katie, then, from all of us at ZPG Ice Maidens. Kayla Poole came away with the Player of the Game award for the Vixens after making 27 saves, while Michelle Franklin added a further 5 stops. And talking of Michelle, just like that, 24 years of playing for the Vixens has came to an end. The game at Streatham being her last regular season game before the playoffs begin. Michelle posted to social media saying, "I've been through loads of ups and downs, but wouldn't change them for the world. These girls are like family to me. I have played against some amazing teams, made loads of friends on the way, and achieved more than I ever thought I would. It all had to come to an end at some point, and I wanted it to be on my terms. Just playoffs left, and then it's over and out." Well, Michelle, it's never too late to change your mind, and I hope you do, because it's been a pleasure watching you in action over the past 3 seasons. The Solihull goalie has had a great career, and perhaps the highlight has been the past 3 seasons where the Vixens have clinched back-to-back league titles. Streatham Storm finished their regular season in the best possible way with that 2-1 win over the Vixens. Estelle Ip netted both goals, but the team worked well as a unit throughout, and that proved to be the foundation for the win, along with a player-of-the-game performance from goalie Naomi Healy, who made some epic saves to protect her side's lead. Most teams have a secondary award aside from the Player of the Game award. Whitley have the hardest worker hat, Solway have a shark, but the Storm have the Moose award and are, quote, for the dumbest thing someone did during the game. Legendary forward Ange Taylor had the distinction of taking home that award for the Vixens game after she hadn't made a note of the face-off change. Ange arrived during the second period and never actually made it onto the ice. But at least she did get to watch some quality hockey and witnessed her side clinch a win as they look to build some momentum for the playoffs. The Whitley Bay Beacons ended the 2023-24 season in the best possible way by securing a 3-1 win at home to playoff-bound Kingston Diamonds. Beacons started the game with captain and leading scorer Abbie Culshaw alongside player-coach Steph Towns and Ruby Newlands on the top line. Becky Castor-Wood had Danielle Turnbull and Kimberly Brennan alongside her on the second line, with Maya Lowe, Emily Luck and Claire Turnbull making up the third line. Casey Trail, Caitlin Stocks, Vicky Smith, Caitlin Morrison and Emma Dixon were on defence, with Megan Craig making her second start since recovering from a foot injury. Diamonds were without Katie Marsden for the second week in a row, but went with a top line of Lizzie Saunders, Mia Forbes and Kiana Tate, all three having found the net against the Beacons earlier in the season. With Clara Ashton out on the left wing of this second line, she lined up alongside Danny Newlove and Melissa Veal. Jaz Little and Grace Cooper, who can both play as defenders, were on the third line with Olivia Turner. Holly Cornford partnered Beth Dias-Scoon on the top defensive pairing with former Beacon Helen Emerson alongside Gemma Wallace. Libby Bird got the starting goal. In what was an even contest throughout, Diamonds took the lead with just over 6 minutes remaining in the opening period. From a defensive zone face-off, Holly Cornford cleverly banked the puck off the boards to bypass a couple of Beacon's players and in turn play in Clara Ashton, who had got inside the defence. The Manchester-born forward rifling home a well-driven shot to give her side the lead. The Beacons were soon back level low when Danielle Turnbull's hard work in the corner forced a Diamonds turnover, and after finding Becky Castor-Wood on the opposite side, Abbie Culshaw then collected the puck, cutting in from the boards and opened up the shooting angle to net her 18th goal of the season. The commentary of that goal can be heard now, courtesy of Beacons TV, with myself, Adam Mackman, and Aisling Rafter providing the commentary.
Well, and the battle goes into the corner and into Culshaw. Can she get the finish? She will! Scratch my back with a hacksaw. It's 1-1.
Brilliant goal from Abbie Culshaw.
It really was, yeah. She might not know the difference between a lemon or a lime, but she knows how to put the puck in the back of her net, and that makes it 1-1. You could just sense it was coming though when she cut in from the left wing side, and she just seemed to be the defence left the back door open a little bit.
Yeah, that's kind of a turnover to a player you do not want to give a turnover to in your zone, and she got a lot of space and time there. So yeah, good for her.
Yeah.
The home side then edged ahead a minute into the second period when Kimberly Brennan supplied a perfectly weighted pass into the path of the onrushing Danielle Turnbull, who finished emphatically as she raced down the slot. And once again, here's the goal.
I'm sure you'll enjoy it as Danielle Turnbull is released. She's in on goal. Can she finish? She can! Danielle Turnbull gives the Beacons a lead, and no need to apologise, but fantastic finish. Talk us through it, Ashton.
Absolutely buzzing for Danielle. She's the most deserving person ever of a breakaway goal, and she works hard every game and she puts her 100% effort in, and great play up from the back line all the way up to the ice there, and fantastic goal, fantastic finish.
Really was.
Diamonds could have been back level themselves soon after when Mia Forbes stole in behind the Beacons' defence, but Megan Craig came up with a big save to protect her side's lead. both sides continued to play their part in what was an exciting end-to-end matchup, and whoever got the next goal was going to be crucial. As it turned out, it was the Beacons who increased their lead inside the final period. Abbie Culshaw did great for her second, having had to dig the puck from under her feet. She deked the first defender, drifted wide before cutting back inside the last defender, shrugging off the challenge before slotting past Libby Bird in the Diamonds' net. It was Abbie's 19th goal and 30th point of the season.
Shot comes in from Abbie Culshaw, who scores. Get in the fast lane, Grandma, this bingo game is ready to roll. 3-1 Beacons. And again, clever work by Steph Towns to set that play up.
Yeah, them two working together, as always, are fantastic to watch, and really nice finish from Abbie.
So a 3-1 lead with a little over 12 minutes to go.
Megan Craig made 25 saves for her Beacons, with Libby Bird stopping 28 shots herself. Danielle Turnbull of the Beacons and Clara Ashton of the Diamonds were named the Two Player of the Game awards. After the game, I spoke with Diamonds duo Grace Cooper and Jaz Little, who spoke about the game as well as both the Diamonds Elite and Division 1 side's chances in the upcoming playoffs. Welcome to Ice Maidens, where today we are catching up with Diamonds players Grace Cooper and Jaz Little. First of all, thank you both for joining me. So I'll come to you, Jaz, first. Today's game, a 3-1 win for the Beacons. Not the ideal scoreline you want to end the regular season, but it was a close game, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'd say first period we came out quite hard and fighting. I thought our positioning was really, really good, and the tempo was obviously up, but it was just towards second and third, we just kind of flattened out, especially after that power play, kind of in period 2.
Yeah, and CJ getting the goal to give the Diamonds a lead, so it was a perfect start, really, in many ways, wasn't it?
Definitely, yeah.
But then Beacon sort of hit back quite soon after, so went back to being level. But again, it was a close game for Raoul.
No, definitely. I definitely thought it was a good game, to be honest, and I really enjoyed playing it. So yeah,
CJ deserved man of the match.
Definitely CJ for one of the matches.
Played
that goes insane.
Yeah, she played excellently, and normally she's a centre and was playing out on the wing, so had a bit more space out there, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely trying to implement putting that high man out occasionally and splitting the Ds. And I think today, obviously, that's how we got the goal and it worked. So yeah.
Everyone just went crackers on the bench.
Yeah. Heading into the playoffs, you probably want to end the season on with a win and carry a bit of momentum into that. But again, this game didn't really carry that much. There's no big implications on it, was there?
No, definitely.
Yeah. I think now that we've secured the place in the playoffs, we're all like, I don't know what it is. I don't know where I'm going with this. I'm sorry.
I think what she means is like it kind of flattened out.
Yeah.
And to be honest, like we've spoken about it in the dressing room before, just like the pressure and obviously, I mean, it's been a while coming for Elite. We haven't obviously made playoffs like recently,
so it's a big
So it's kind of a big thing. I know a lot of the girls are really looking forward to it.
We can't
especially when like the likes of Dias-Scoon and Helen that have been on the team for a while are definitely like really up for it.
Yeah.
So I mean, we've got a strong squad going to playoffs.
And it is. We are motivated because although we are playing against the Bees, who are they are very good. We have beaten them before, and we know that we just need to communicate between the team and. We can come back, and we just need to set the standard and prove to everyone that we are winners, and we've got this.
And as you say, as you've proved against both Queen Bees and Solihull Vixens, so not many teams can say that. So you've mentioned there about the Elite playoffs and how good it is to be back, being involved after a few years away. Division 1 team also going to be there. You're both going to be involved in that, and it's been a good season really for that side, hasn't it?
Definitely, yeah. I mean, Prem team. We've just been really strong. Obviously, we've got quite a young team this year, Prem-wise. But I mean, the young ones are just so fast and the tempo's unreal at the minute, to be honest.
And the vibes on the bench are just perfect, so it's...
Yeah, definitely,
Yeah, looking like it's going to be Bristol Huskies in the semi-final, so what's your thoughts on that?
It'll be a close game. It will be close, because last time we drew them, I think it was 3-3. But so it will be close, and because both teams, they are good. We both have a good tempo, but I think if we, keep at the level we've been playing, especially like at the right mindset, we'll be good, and we've got it.
Yeah, definitely battling hard like we did in the last game, and hopefully we'll come out on top.
Yeah.
Yeah, and well, good luck with that. And if you do, more than likely it'll be Swindon's Hot Cats in the final. They've been kind of the thorn in the side this year, won both games, but again, it's extra motivation to want to win the playoff, isn't it?
No, definitely. Should both be like good games to watch, to be honest. Probably very close, both of them. So yeah, be good games to play. Yeah.
It certainly will. Well, I want to wish you both the very best of luck in all the games you play, and thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you.
Beacons can take a lot from this year, smashing their previous totals in wins and points, whilst improving both their goals scored and goals conceded, contributed to a 5th place finish. Last time out, the Beacons shipped in a whopping 138 goals. This year saw just 78 conceded, a massive improvement. There were also defeats by double figures in 7 out of the 8 games played against the Solihull Vixens and Queen Bees during that 2021-22 season, whereas 7-1 was the heaviest defeat this time around, showing the gap has well and truly narrowed. Here's to a 2024-25 season. We already can't wait. After the game, I had a long overdue catch-up with Captain Abbie Culshaw and player coach Steph Towns, who both were delighted with how the season has ended and were understandably proud of the club's bright future. Welcome to Beacons TV, as today we are catching up with Captain Abbie Culshaw and player coach Steph Towns. First of all, thank you both for joining me. Well, let's start with the game then. A 3-1 win, great way to sign off, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think 2-1, maybe a few, before Christmas, we might have let that slip, but we've definitely grown as a team towards the back end of the season, and yeah, it was a comfortable win in the end. It was
close, but as you say, comfortable, and 2 really good goals from yourself, Abbie, to add to your growing collection.
Yeah, I just get good passes and just end up finishing them. It's all right.
Yeah, I mean, the combination, particularly between you two, was excellent throughout, and that was one of the things that both me and Ashlyn were really enjoying in the game. So, I mean, I know you've played together for a long time, but Steph, I mean, what's it like playing alongside someone that you've got such a good understanding with?
Yeah, I think just because we're playing together so long, ice and ball hockey, we've got that natural connection. But the credit to Abbie, she's always finished those goals, always battles hard to the net, somehow always ends up on somehow always ends up on the floor, but the puck goes in the net, so that's the main thing. But yeah, just someone I can absolutely rely on. As soon as you dish the puck, you know where it's going after.
Yeah, I mean, you come close a couple of occasions with a couple of good feeds from Abbie. Wasn't quite to be, but I mean, Libby's a very good goaltender, isn't she?
Yeah, absolutely. I think even last night when we heard that she was playing, we're a bit oh God, we know we're going to have to pepper here or have to just work extra hard. She's an exceptional goalie, and credit again today. She made some amazing saves, and it certainly wasn't an easy game. No, it wasn't. But great way to sign off the season. What's been very successful. Most number of wins and points in the Elite League for us, and 5th place as well. It's we don't have that worry of playing in the relegation playoff. Yeah, I mean that's the main thing. I think we're saying in the change room at the start of the season we were a bit optimistic, or at least setting a high goal that we wanted to make playoffs. We haven't really fell too short of that, just ending in 5th rather than 4th, but towards the end of the season, over the last 7 games, we've just adjusted our goals a little bit and said, we really want to make sure that we do avoid that relegation, but avoid it well. And in the last 7 games, we've only lost 1 game, obviously drawn a couple and won some. And I think going off that performance, it isn't a fluke. It is something that we've worked hard for and made sure we've had a core of a team to do that. So just adjusting our goals a bit halfway through the season, it's just mean everyone's been a bit more hungry to meet that new goal.
You both played in the last season in the Elite 2 years ago, and I'm sure you'll both recognise just the difference in performances and scorelines. I mean, there was double-figure defeats last time, and this time, I think was it 7-1 against Queen Bees was the heaviest defeat, but being able to beat some of these top sides and challenge, the gap's narrowed, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has, and we've retained a really good core of that squad, and even the squad from previous seasons. Most of our key players are people that have been with us for a long time, and it is something that we said it's a bit of an unknown. Of course, we don't want it to be like last time, but to now say that we can go into our 3rd elite season is exceptional, especially when all the other teams are so established. We're not shy about that, so just a massive achievement.
It really is, and I mean, Abbie, as well, your production this season, particularly in what is the top flight of women's hockey, you've got to be happy with the numbers you've had this year.
Yeah, I think I've doubled my past scores, so I'm pretty happy with that, but I couldn't do it without the players, with me. They're unreal. This team I don't know, they're just like something else. And other teams comment on that as well. So yeah, really happy with obviously myself, but I couldn't do it without everyone else either.
Well, you're very modest, but yeah, but great achievement for you both, of course. Looking ahead to next season, you must be excited again what we can achieve next year going forward.
Yeah, hugely. We've already spoke about the core of players that we want to keep and the things that we want to do in the start of the season. Like, we're going to use the past 7 games as a way to start out the season, and I don't think we did have a difficult start. We're not. You're not afraid to admit that. We've had players in and out, but what we have retained is a core, and that is the main thing that is part of our success. So next season, really excited. We know exactly what to do from the start. We know what to expect from teams. So we are going to absolutely ramp it up a little bit more to try and reach that 4th spot.
Yeah, and finally, just looking at the under-16s who are going to be representing the club at the playoffs in a couple of weeks. I mean, that must be something to be proud of as well, given that the future is very bright for Beacons, isn't it?
Unbelievable, and there's again going to be a good core of them that are moving up, some of which we do believe are going to be quite elite level ready, and we want to give them that experience. Great that they can get the experience in the other leagues as well, but there's a good core of them that are moving in, and that is the main reason of why we have this club and why we want to stay in the elite league. So there is that pathway. We're not bothered about winning championships or winning playoffs. Great when it comes, and we want players that are coming in to be part of that eventually. But the main aim is to have that full pathway through from 16s, Div 2 right upwards for the North. And I think that's something that we are now achieving, and we're safe to do that because we've stayed up.
It really is. Well, thank you both for joining me, and enjoy your rest in the summer, and see you back in September.
Thank you.
Cheers, Adam.
Let's move on now to Division 1 then, and the final 4 games played there. Bristol Huskies are confirmed as finishing in 3rd place. Laura Merrick returned to the ice to bag a goal and the Player of the Game award in what was a 4-0 success over MK Falcons on Saturday. Goalie Gemma Davis put in a Player of the Game performance away to Swindon on Sunday, but it was the Top Cats who ran out 2-0 winners. Lily Endicott and Ellie Wallace netted the goals for the Top Cats, with Miley Dracy and Joe Scott Russell getting the assists. Marley Easton was named Player of the Game for her shutout. Milton Keynes Falcons ended what has been a frustrating season with a well-managed 2-1 win over Sheffield Shadows. Michelle Lyle was named Player of the Game in that one. It would prove to be a disappointing end to the season for the Shadows, though, as they finished the season in 6th place. Charlie Farr was named Player of the Game for them. Chelmsford Cobras ended the season in 5th after a 4-2 win at home in the Snake Derby to the Nottingham Vipers. Cobras began the first period strong, putting immediate pressure on the Vipers and netting 2 early goals, thanks to Connie Fiddler and Tereska Plankova. They would end the period 2 goals to the good. Cobras didn't let up in the second, continuing to push for more goals, and it paid off 7 minutes in when the excellent Evie Lawrence increased her side's lead. Vipers tried to turn the game around for the remainder of the second period and managed to grab 2 goals back, making it a 1-goal game heading into the third. A good defensive display, though, helped preserve their slender lead in the final period, and when Plankova netted her second of the game with 9 minutes to go, it all but made the game safe for the Cobras. In the end, the Essex club narrowly missed out on a playoff spot, but when compared to last season's record, the side have made massive strides forward and can look back fondly on what has been a good 2023-24 campaign. On to Division 2 North now, where the Caledonia Steel Queens made it a perfect season with a 14th win in 14 games. This latest success coming against the Whitley Bay Beacons last Saturday. The Queens were ruthless as they raced into a 9-0 lead by the end of the first period. They added another 4 in the second and in the third as well, but that was after Iona Harrison had netted twice to give her side something to cheer. Whitley had actually put in arguably their best performance of the season as they worked hard all across the ice, and was something the Queens were quick to acknowledge as they were very respectful in comments about their opponents' efforts after the game. Lindsay Zerbin-Young, in what was just her 3rd Beacons game and 4th ever in goal, kept the score respectable as she pulled off some great saves throughout. While for some of the goals, she was simply just let down by an unfortunate bounce here or there. The Canadian-born goalie faced an incredible 86 shots, making 69 saves. She faced an obscene amount of 34 in the first period alone, meaning she'd come up with 25 saves, which in any other period, in any other game, against any other team, would be incredible. But against a side like Caledonia, who have that sort of firepower all over the ice, there is only so much one person can do. Irish international Laura O'Sullivan netted twice in just 21 seconds, with barely even a minute on the clock. Katie Gillis had a coast-to-coast goal of the season contender from Canadian defender Jess Mulloy, either side of the opening period's midpoint, made it 4-0. Mulloy, who hails from the hockey hotbed of Carleton Place, Ontario, converted on a power play 5 minutes later with what was a very similar goal, although this time her slalom-like move started from a much shorter distance from goal. However, the end result was the same. Chloe Young showed Sidney Crosby-like skill in the number 87 jersey to make it 6, before Caitlin Monk, Michelle Davidson and Laura O'Sullivan, the latter of which netted a hat-trick marker, all found the net before the period was over. 2 early goals in the second from Jess Bridger made it 11-0 before the Queens seemed to ease off a bit. Former Beacon Katie Trachtenberg was always looking to set up a teammate rather than go for an easy finish herself. Katie Gillis grabbed her second of the game before the excellent Laura O'Sullivan netted what was her 4th. Megan Agnew made it 14-0 a minute into the final period as the Queens again began the period strong. But Iona Harrison's hard work and persistence paid off when she netted with just over 11 minutes remaining. The Beacon's top scorer would score again with 6 minutes to go before a crazy few seconds saw the Queens bang in another 2 quick-fire goals, Nikki Russell getting them both. The final word went to another former Beacons player, Aisling Rafter, who scored the 17th and jokingly said the most important one to make the game safe. You gotta love the wee girl from Banger's sense of humour on that one. The goal came on the power play with less than 3 minutes to go. Her muted celebrations after the goal spoke volumes as she didn't want to rub it in against her former side. Player of the game went to another former Beacons defender, Jordan Troop, who made a spectacular return from injury to put in what was a defensive masterclass at her old home rink. The Queen's Jester Award went to Violet Mayer, the youngest player on the team, who worked her socks off throughout. The line of Laura O'Sullivan, Jess Bridger and Katie Trachtenberg combined for 6 of the team goals and 14 points, while Katie Gillis, Aisling Rafter and Tatiana Donaldson produced 3 goals and 5 points. Nikki Russell, Maggie Agnew and Caitlin Monk put up 4 goals and 6 points. A further 3 goals and 9 points came from the blue line. After the game, Queen's coach and Kingston Diamonds defender Beth Dias-Scoon spoke about life on the bench in Edinburgh, as well as her thoughts ahead of the final elite game between the Diamonds and the Beacons the following day. Still Queen's coach, Beth Dias-Scoon. So first of all, Beth, thank you for joining me.
Thanks very much, thanks for having me.
A big win for the Queens today. What was your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, it was good. Obviously, we wanted to end the season undefeated. That was one of our goals. So I'm glad we got the job done. We're also kind of looking ahead to playoffs now. So one of the points we emphasised was that we want to play a full 60 minutes. We've had some games where we've dropped off here and there. I think on the whole we did well. Whitley did a good job to battle back in there, and we did kind of drop when that happened. So we just had a quick regroup. Things like that might happen come playoffs, so we want to be ready and be in these situations with a good test. But yeah, overall good.
Yeah, never easy, is it, when the scoreline's so one-sided, particularly after the first period. So how do you manage those sort of in-game situations after that? Yeah,
definitely. It's happened a couple of times this year, but we always just focus on our performance. We don't worry too much about the score. Everything's looking towards playoffs, so we weren't sure what position we'd be in come the start of the season. It was a new team entering a new league for us. So it's all about the performance. We'll be working on things in training that will help in playoffs, so we just want to see them implemented in the game, and just refocusing, making sure we're doing the simple things and regrouping when things don't go our way as well.
Yeah, and obviously today completes the season 100% record, and that's some achievement, isn't it, really?
Absolutely, yeah. The girls have done really well. I think it proves we've got a very deep squad as well. Obviously, coming into a new league, it's difficult to know how you're going to fare against teams who don't really have any sort of reference points. But I think being able to travel and do the long trips and always have a full team for every single game has really done us dividends, and I think that's in a good position going into playoffs as well. As I say, we didn't know what to expect, and the girls have done really well.
Yeah, you're going to probably face, well, either or both Cardiff and Cambridge in the playoffs. How much do you know about those two sides?
I know a few girls that play for Cardiff from my own experience. They're always a tough team. They've got some standout players that do the job. Cambridge is an interesting one. They're in a very similar position to we are, having joined the league, probably based largely from university players initially, and also branching out. So it's quite an interesting story, having two teams in such a similar boat going into playoffs. So we'll see what happens. We're going to take it one game at a time. It's uncharted territory. We don't know the teams we're playing against, so we know it'll be a good challenge regardless of who we play, and we'll just be focused one game at a time.
Yeah, of course. Now, looking at your other team, of course, as a player, you're with the Kingston Diamonds. So you're here back tomorrow against the Elite Beacon. So any thoughts on that game?
Yeah, I mean, it's a difficult one. In previous seasons, it would have been a relegation battle, so a tight game. This season, we're both safe. We're happy with our position for playoffs, and we're not going to climb into third to change our opponent. So yeah, it's a strange game. It's a game against friends, and we saw it down in Hull last weekend. It was great to get everyone together. We're all good friends off the ice. So I think it'll be good fun. It always is against these guys. Having a good battle as well. Obviously, no one wants to lose at this stage of the season. We're looking for momentum going into playoff weekend. We've lost it last weekend a little bit. So we just, again, it's more about the performance than the result, really, for us. But we know it's going to be fun.
Yeah, and carry a little bit of form into the playoffs. As you mentioned, both teams are safe, which is great. And then, well, this will be the first time in a while that Diamonds have got to the elite playoffs. So, thoughts on that? Looking forward to it?
Yeah, absolutely. In years gone by, we were there consistently, and we won it 3 years in a row. A good few years ago now. It's always a great weekend. It's nice to get everyone together. We've had a good season. We've had really good runs and good results against the top teams. So we're going there looking to win it. Every team should be. That's the elite level, and that's how it goes. We know we're capable. If we focus on our performance, put in a good performance on the Saturday, anything can happen. We've had the results. We're confident, and we just need to do the job on the day. It'll be a good weekend.
Beth Dias-Scoon there, one of the true legends of the game. One of Beth's players, Jessie Mulloy, had a great game, scoring a couple of exciting goals. I was able to grab a word with her after the game, where she looks ahead to next weekend's playoffs, as well as talking us through what has been a great first season of WNIHL hockey for the club. Steel Queens defender, Jessie Mulloy. First of all, Jessie, thank you for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, absolute welcome. Huge win for the Queens today. What was your thoughts on the game?
I thought we played really well. We really kept the pressure up. I think we did lose it a little bit when Whitley came back and scored those 2 goals. They were great goals, by the way, like amazing. But I do think we managed to pick it back up, which is what we were looking for, just trying to make sure we could keep it consistent for playoffs in a couple weeks. So yeah, we did have our playoff team out there, so definitely a hard team to play against and physical and all that. So yeah, kudos to Whitley. They played awesome.
Yeah, it was a very difficult afternoon for them. But yeah, 9-0 at the end of the first period. So the game was done at that point. How do you then keep up the pressure for those last 40 minutes?
Yeah, it's hard for sure. We just wanted to make sure we kept the team chemistry up, made sure we got our passes on the tape still, make sure we're moving the puck lots. We don't need any individual effort at that point, so just making sure we stay as a team and keep it going.
Yeah.
Keep the pressure on.
Obviously, in that first period, a couple of really nice goals from yourself. I think we mentioned that they were absolutely filthy, but in a good way. Because our first one, when you went coast to coast, I mean, talk us through that if you can.
Yeah, I mean, the reason I play defense is I love the space. So that's one of the things that I just love doing. If I have the time and the space to do it, I'll go coast to coast. Obviously, it's great to make the team effort, but sometimes you just gotta go when you have the chance, and I had the chance, so I just saw it and took it.
Yeah, when you finished fantastically well, and then the power play goal comes soon after it. Wasn't from quite the same distance, but again, you cut around a couple of players before rifling home, and was another smart finish.
Yeah. I don't know. I do find it's difficult. Like you want to play as a team and all that, but if you see the time and space, nobody will be upset or anything if I take it and go. So yeah, everybody took it really well. The power play was coming to a close, so I didn't want them to get any chances with their player coming out the box. So I just took it, and sure enough, it went in the net. So yeah.
Yeah, you had some chances after that. Could have got a hat trick. Well, didn't quite happen. I know some of the girls are giving you a bit of stick for that. But,
yeah.
But
kudos to the Whitley goalie. She played amazing. Absolutely amazing today.
Yeah, and just a fourth game in goal as well. So,
wow. So, yeah, no, she had an excellent game for sure. Absolutely.
But yeah, she kept the scoreline down. As I say, Whitley battled back in that final period, but you got the job done. And then, I mean, that's a full season. Every game's won, 100% record. So that's some achievement, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. I'm so proud of the Steel Queens for this season. Everybody played so well. For us to go undefeated in our first season is like beyond what any of us ever thought we could do. Just looking forward to bringing it home at playoffs.
Yeah, and that leads me into my next question. It'll either be Cambridge or Cardiff, or possibly you might have to play both to win that promotion.
Right,
but
yeah.
There'll be two tough games, you would think.
Absolutely, for sure. There would definitely be two tough games. As long as we keep the team chemistry up and keep it going, I think we definitely have the power to take it home back to Scotland.
Thank you, Jessie. It hasn't been a great season for a Beacons 2 team as they continue to develop and rebuild. But certainly one of the positives has been the goal-scoring form of leading scorer Iona Harrison, who very kindly stopped by for a chat after a game. Welcome to Ice Maidens, where today we are catching up with Beacons forward Iona Harrison. First of all, Iona, thank you for joining me.
Hello, Adam.
Big win for the Steel Queens, difficult day at the afternoon for the Beacons. What did you think about that game?
Well, we knew it was going to be a tough game from the start. They're top of the league. But I just think we give it all. We ended up getting with 2 goals, yeah.
You played in the game up in Scotland just before Christmas. It was much closer. I think it's 5-2 to the Queens. But what was the difference today? Do you just think they were extra motivated?
I don't know. I don't know if they had more players or something, but I think we are still finding our feet as a team together. Like, we're getting new players coming in all the time, just wanting to start playing and things like that. So obviously we have to adjust the lines to that and things like that. So. Yeah,
now obviously your performance was something to be proud of. It's never easy in them games, as I said before, but you never stop. You've got that will to win and that controlled aggression, and you got those 2 goals. So you're just an ultimate competitor, aren't you? You love to play.
I guess you could say that. I mean, I really just wanted to get that 1 goal, and when I got that 1 goal, I just felt like we'd won the Stanley Cup or something. But yeah.
Well, it was a great celebration. You could see what it meant to not just you, but your teammates as well. And it's always nice just to get that 0 off the scoreboard as well, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Especially when I always get quite riled up. So I was like, you know what? I'm quite calm this game. Let's have a go.
Yeah. You got a couple of goals last week as well. You've ended the season really strongly. And again, ended the season as the Beacons' top goal scorer. So that's something you've got to be pleased with.
Oh, yeah. I'm glad about that, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be able to do it without my teammates. They're always like the morale on the bench, like pushing us, like just keeping us, focused. So yeah, they're good.
Yeah, and I mean, outside of hockey, you also play football for Colour Coats Ladies. Again, fantastic goal scorer there. I mean, great example of what is a really good athlete, because last season you were playing a game of hockey, then a game of football, then another game of hockey in 5 hours or something.
Yeah.
So where do you find that energy from?
I don't know. I look back at it and I think, how on earth did I do that? I don't know. But I always have energy. I'm just ready to go, fire, want to win, but we don't always get the win. But it just is what it is. That's sport. Can't win them all.
No, you can't. But the Beacons, we're very grateful to have you, Iona, and look forward to seeing you again in action next season.
Thank you, Adam.
Thank you, Iona. In the other game to be played in Division 2 North, Leeds Roses travelled to Hull and came away with a 5-2 win, the West Yorkshire side finishing in 4th for the 2nd season in a row. Jess Holgate, who has been an excellent mid-season signing, added 2 more goals to her personal collection. Congratulations also go to Nadia Molenda for scoring her first Roses goal, while Jazz Daniel and Anne-Marie Devine also found the net. Jasmine Tolson on her Roses debut, CJ Harrison and Michelle Ross all recorded assists in the win. Player of the game went to Ella May Hobley-Flitcroft after helping the Roses out in goal, and she put in a fantastic performance. Player's player went to Michelle Ross, and Hardest Worker award to Jasmine Tolson. Kingston Diamonds then ended their season on a positive note with a really strong performance against Leeds. Although they didn't get any points in the game, they played a good team game against a strong side and afterwards were pleased with the result. Diamonds' goals came from Kerry Greaves and from Joe Cockerton in what was the latter's final game. We would all like to wish Joe a very happy retirement. Joe has been a part of the Diamonds for over 30 years and despite having tried to retire on several occasions, hasn't quite managed it yet. She thought she'd well and truly hung up her skates a few years ago, but was coerced into lacing them up again to assist with the club's learn-to-play sessions, and then they managed to sneak 2 more seasons out of her for what was the new Division 2 side ahead of last campaign. She's not quite hanging up the skates completely though, as Joe is still part of the Diamonds coaching team, and will continue to be involved with the Division 2 side going forward. Thanks for your many years of hard work, Joe. We had 5 games take place in Division 2 South, with Slough Sirens clinching a 5-1 win at home to Chelmsford Pythons on Saturday. The Essex club arrived with a short bench and playing a 2-line system, so it was always going to be a tough ask for them. Sirens went into the first break 2-0 ahead before a goalless second session. The Pythons decided to go for it in the third and got a goal back just over a minute in, thanks to Kiara Lambert, who put home Katie May Smith's assist. However, Slough managed to turn the game back in their favour and scored 3 unanswered goals for the win. Chelmsford player of the game went to India Langley, with Kiara Lambert taking home the Hero of the Game award. The Sirens hosted title chasers Cardiff Comets the following day, with the Welsh side needing just a point to clinch the championship. In the end, a 4-2 victory confirmed them as back-to-back winners in Division 2 South, and they will head to Sheffield looking to put right a disappointing last-second loss from last year's final. But for now, congratulations again to the Cardiff Comets. Chelmsford were in action on the Sunday as well as they hosted Coventry Phoenix. From the opening face-off, both sides contributed to what was an exciting end-to-end game. It remained goalless as they headed into the second period, but Pythons were full of confidence from their performance the previous day and created some good plays and generated plenty of shots on goal. However, Phoenix took the lead thanks to Ice Maidens sponsored Becky Linus, who put home a Sophie Gallen assist. Pythons continued to attack going into the third period, but once again it was the Phoenix who scored. 5 minutes in, thanks to an unassisted goal from Jennifer Adams. Chelmsford improved defensively throughout the remainder of the game, preventing any further goals from the Phoenix. Pythons player of the game went to Stevie Burns, with Katie May Smith taking the hero of the game. Jennifer Adams was named player of the game for the Phoenix, with Ellie Jo Cole taking the Players' Player award after her second career shutout. Sunday showed a clinical performance from the Streatham Storm players, with Laura Cope scoring a massive 6 goals and a double hat-trick. Susanna Dobrovolska also picked up a hat-trick, with Jazz Wilson making her debut as a forward and also scoring, making it 10 goals scored across that top line. After losing to Oxford earlier on in the season, the Storm had wanted their revenge, especially as on that occasion an emergency goalie was brought in by Oxford and was fulfilled by none other than Kayla Poole, who has of course played in the Women's Elite League with Solihull this season, along with appearances in the Men's NIHL 1 and 2, and of course was Women's Under-18 GB goalie last season. This was a long-awaited return match for the South London side then, and with it a rivalry at the undertone of talk prior to the game. It was one of the reasons why the Stormers didn't take their foot off the gas and continued to find the back of the net again and again and again for the entire 60 minutes. It resulted in a massive final score of 14-0, with the other goals coming from Canadian Jenna Johnson, Malaysia's Eunice Boone, Anya O'Kane and Auguste Tomasevich Ayute of Lithuania. Player of the game went to Laura Cope for what was her double hat-trick. This result put the Storm on a 5-game win streak to end the season with, and they will look forward to continue that momentum come next year. Final word this week then goes to Whitley Bay's Rowan Allen, who has very kindly recorded 1 or 2 messages to read out.
Thank you for listening to ZPG Ice Maidens. Please make sure you're following us across all social media platforms to keep you fully up to date with all things WNIHL. On Facebook, follow Ice Maidens, the voice of women's ice hockey, and check out the website at icemaidens.wordpress.com. On Instagram and Twitter, you can find the podcast at ZPG Ice Maidens, and for YouTube, you can subscribe to Zero Pucks Given. Please like, follow, share and subscribe. It all does wonders for spreading the good word of the ZPG network.
That's all for this episode. Thanks for listening. See you next week.
Sports Social Podcast Network.